we are going to start the next lesson from our textbook. So before starting the lesson, I would like to ask a few questions. So, do you love toys? Yes, we all love toys. Have you ever seen a puppet? Yes, there are different types of puppets, hand puppets, the puppets played with the strings, and also there are finger puppets. So, our lesson today is the four puppets. The four puppets. It is written by Aaron Shepard. Aaron Shepard, and he has written many stories for the children, and most of his stories are folk tales. So his famous stories are The Monkey King, A Superhero Tale of China, The Magic Flies Water, A Superhero Tale of Africa, etc. So the lesson name is The Four Puppets. Let us look at the vocabulary from the lesson. The first one is honorable. Repeat, honorable. Honorable means deserving to be respected. Deserving to be respected. Let us use this in a sentence. The chief minister is an honorable man. That means the chief minister deserves to be respected. And the second one is virtue. Virtue means a good quality. Virtue. Repeat. Virtue. Virtue means a good quality. Usage. Patience is virtue. Patience is virtue. That means having patience is a good quality. The third word is augur. Augur is a man eating giant. A man eating giant. Usage. The augur lived in the outskirts of the village. Prowling. Prowling. Repeat. Prowling. Prowling means moving about restlessly in search of prey. Moving about restlessly in search of prey. That means the animal is moving around in search of prey. Prey means food. Usage. The fox is prowling. The fox is prowling. The fifth one is gaping. Repeat. Gaping. Gaping means staring in amazement with mouth wide open. Amazement means surprise. Amazement means surprise. So staring at something in surprise with mouth wide open. Usage. The boy is gaping at sky towers. The boy is gaping at sky towers. Sky towers are nothing but the tall buildings. The word huddled. Repeat. Huddled. Huddled means holding arms and legs close to the body. That means sitting like this close to the body, holding hands and legs close to the body. As when you are feeling cold or when you are afraid or scared, you do this thing, huddled. Usage. They huddle together for warmth. They huddle together for warmth. Headdress. Headdress means a covering worn on the head on special occasions. So headdress is something worn on the head for some special occasions. Usage. Raj presented a headdress to his mother. Raj presented a headdress to his mother. And the eighth word is pagoda. Pagoda. Pagoda means a temple in the form of a tower with multiple levels. Pagoda means a temple in the form of a tower with multiple levels. Usage. Ram built a pagoda in the village. Ram built a pagoda Open your textbooks at page number 28. Once there was a puppet maker who had a son named Ang. The father always hoped his son would grow up to be a puppet maker too. But to Ang, such a life was far from exciting. Father, said Ang one day, I have decided to leave home and seek my fortune. So, there was once a puppet maker. A puppet maker is a person who makes puppets. So puppets, you know what the puppets are. There are small toys which can be played using the strings or with the help of your hand. So there is a person who makes a puppet and he has a son named Ang. So this person, the puppet maker, always thought that when his son grows up, he would also become a puppet maker. But to Ang, this is not at all exciting. Becoming a puppet maker is far from exciting. That means he doesn't feel this profession interesting. Father, said Ang one day, I've decided to leave home and seek my fortune. So one day what happened, when Ang grew up, he went to his father and he said, Father, I decided to leave home and seek my fortune. Seek means find. Fortune is nothing but choosing a career in his life. So I want to leave home and I will seek my fortune, he said. The puppet maker looked up sadly from his work. The life of a puppet maker is an honorable one. But if you must go, let me give you companions for your journey. So now when Ang said that he wants to leave the house, what happened? Father is very sad. So he was doing some puppets then and he looked up sadly at his son. Then he said, the life of a puppet maker is an honorable one. Honorable means already we learned deserving to be respected. So life of the puppet maker deserves to be respected by. So, but still, if you want to go and make your fortune, you can leave the home and I will give you 4 companions for your journey. 4 companions. Companions means what? Friends or the things which we spend a lot of time with or which we travel with. So, he is going to give Ang 4 companions for his journey. He showed his son 4 wooden puppets he had made. Each, he said, has its own virtue and value. So now he showed his son the 4 puppets he had made. They are made of wood. So he has shown him the 4 wooden puppets. So he told his son, so each of these puppets is not just a toy, but each one has a virtue. What is the meaning of virtue? Virtue means a good value. So each puppet has a good value. The first puppet was the king of gods. The puppet maker said, his virtue is wisdom. So the first, he is introducing the puppets to Ang. So the first puppet is the king of gods. Who is the first puppet? The king of gods, and his virtue is wisdom. His virtue is wisdom. That means, what is wisdom? Wisdom is having knowledge about your surroundings, what's happening, what is good and what is wrong. Having that kind of knowledge is called a wisdom. So the second puppet. What is the second puppet? The second puppet was a green-faced ogre. His virtue is strength. So the second puppet he has given him is a green-faced ogre. That means a green-faced ogre means a man-eating giant. So what is his virtue or good quality? His virtue is strength. And the third was a mystic sorcerer. Third was a mystic sorcerer. His virtue is knowledge. So what is the third one? A mystic sorcerer. Mystic means a person who has some kind of special powers or spiritual powers which are very difficult for us to understand. So, sorcerer is a person who performs magic using these spiritual powers. So, the third puppet is the mystic sorcerer, and his virtue or good quality is knowledge. And the fourth one was holy hermit. His virtue is goodness. So the fourth puppet is the holy hermit, and his virtue is goodness. He told his son, each of these virtues can help you on your way. But remember, strength and knowledge must always serve wisdom and goodness. So he told his son, so each of these values or each of these good qualities will help you on your way. On your way means on the way you choose to reach your goals. But remember, when you use strength and knowledge, you should also use wisdom and goodness. Without wisdom and goodness, there is no use in using the knowledge and strength. Ang started off the next day. On his shoulder, he carried a bamboo pole with food and clothing tied at one end, and the puppets hanging by their strings from the other. So the next day, Ang started his journey. He left his house, and on his shoulder, he is carrying a pole. You can see in this picture. He is carrying a pole, and to one end of the pole, he tied a big sack made of cloth, and inside it there are his clothes and also his food. And to one end, the puppets hanging by the strings from the other. You can see in the picture, at one end he hung the puppets with the strings. When night came, Ang found himself deep in jungle. He stopped beneath a banyan tree. So when he started his journey, and when it is night, he reached the middle of the jungle. So now he stopped beneath a banyan tree. So there is a banyan tree, and he stopped under it. This looks like a good place to sleep, he said to himself, but I wonder if it is safe. So what he was thinking to himself, so this looks like a good place for me to sleep. So, but is it a safe place for me to sleep here? He was thinking. Then Ang had an idea. I think I'll ask one of the puppets. He turned with a smile to the king of gods. Tell me, is it safe here? So now Ang got an idea. So he has 4 puppets, right? So he turned with a smile to the first puppet. What is the first puppet? The king of gods. He turned to the first puppet and he asked, tell me, is it safe to sleep under this banyan tree? He asked. To his amazement, the puppet came alive. It got down from the pole and grew life-size. So, to his surprise, amazement means surprise. To his surprise, what happened? The puppet came to life and it became a big size. Life size means a big size. Ang, said the god, look around you. That is the first step to wisdom. If you fail to see what is right before you, how easy it will be for others to misguide you. Then the puppet hung again from the pole. So what did this puppet, the king of gods, say? Ang, see, look around you. Look around you, observe things carefully around you. If you fail to see what is going on around you, first step to wisdom. If you fail to see what is going on around you, it would be very easy for others to easily trick you or misguide you. So, telling these words, what happened? The puppet again went and hung back to the pole. When Ang got over his shock, He looked carefully all around the tree. There, in the soft earth, were the tracks of a tiger. That night, he slept not on the ground, but in the branches above. He was glad he did, for in the middle of the night he saw a tiger come prowling below him. So now, when Ang came out from the shop, because the puppet came to life and it became a big size, and now he was in a shock. So when he came out from the shop, and what did he do? He looked around the tree. He was under the banyan tree, right? So he looked around the tree, and there in the soft mud he saw the tracks of the tiger. Tracks means the footprints of a tiger. So what happened that night? What did he do? Actually, he planned to sleep under the tree, but that night, instead of sleeping under the tree, he slept on the branches. So he was very glad that he did that. Glad means happy that he did that, sleeping on the branches, because that night, in the middle of the night, who came there? The tiger came prowling, moving in search of food, moving restlessly in search of food. If suppose Ang slept under the tree, what would have happened? The tiger would have killed Ang and it would have eaten. But he was saved because with wisdom, the first puppet's advice, with wisdom, he checked the surroundings and found out that some animal or the tiger is moving around here. So he did not sleep under the tree and he slept on the branches that night. Next paragraph. The next day took Ang into the mountains, where he saw a caravan coming along the road below. A dozen bullock carts were piled high with costly goods. So what happened? The next day he reached the mountains. So there he saw a caravan coming along the road below. So from the mountain he can see a caravan. You can see in the picture here. So there is a road there. From the mountain he can see that road, and there is a caravan moving. Caravan means caravans are nothing but moving houses. They are like bullock carts. So there are like almost a dozen bullock carts. Dozen means 12. Dozen bullock carts which are piled up with costly goods. They are moving below the road. The caravan must belong to a rich man, Ang told himself. So now Ang was thinking, maybe this caravan belongs to a rich man. He turned to the ogre. Tell me, how can I gain such riches? If you have strength, you can take whatever you like, boomed the ogre. He stamped his foot on the earth and it shook. Below them, dirt and rocks broke loose in a landslide and blocked the road. The terrified drivers jumped their carts and ran off. So what happened? Now, when he saw those riches, immediately he called the second puppet, the green-faced ogre. So now the ogre came to life and he is telling that then Ang asked, so how can I get those riches? How can I gain such riches? He asked the ogre. And what was ogre's reply? He said that if you have strength, you can get anything you want. If you have strength, you can get anything you want. And saying those words, he stamped his feet on the mountain and a landslide happened. That means all the rocks and the earths, they fell down and they blocked the road. Seeing this, what happened? The drivers who are driving the bullock carts, they jumped off the carts and they ran off. Ang hurried down and rushed from one cart to another, gaping at rich fabrics and precious metals. All of it is mine, he cried. So what happened? Now Ang hurriedly he went down the mountain and he was running from one cart to other, gaping at the rich fabrics and precious metals. Gaping means staring in amazement with mouth wide open. So he was amazed to see such riches, and he was moving from one cart to other, looking at the rich fabrics. Fabrics means clothes, rich clothes, and all those precious metals. And what did he say? All of this is mine, because the car drivers already ran away, and he said that all of these riches are mine. Just then, Ang heard a sob. Huddled in one of the carts was a lovely young woman his own age. So just then what happened? He heard a sob. Sob means cry. Sob means cry. He heard someone crying. So huddled in one of the carts. Huddled means already we learnt that putting hands and legs close to the body. So this girl, she was scared. A young woman is there in the cart and she was scared. And she is crying. I won't hurt you, said Ang gently. Who are you? Then Ang went closer to that girl and he said, No, I won't hurt you. Who are you? Let me know, he asked. My name is Mala, she said in a small voice. My father is the owner of this caravan. We were on our way to meet him. So what did he say? What did she say? My name is Mala. This caravan or all these costly goods belong to my father. Actually, we are on our way to my father. But in the meanwhile, this landslide happened, she said. Ang fell in love with her. He wanted to keep Mala with him forever. Don't worry, he said. I'll take you with me and care for you. So what happened? Now immediately when Ang saw this woman, he fell in love with Mala. So he said, don't worry Mala, I'll take care of you. I'll take you with me and I will take care of you, he said. So Mala sat up angrily. Take me like you're taking everything else, but you are just a thief and I'll never ever speak to you. And what did Mala say? She was filled with anger. She was angry and she sat up angrily and she said, okay, you can take me. You can take me. If you want me, you can take me like how you are taking all my wealth, all my riches, like how you are stealing. You are just a thief. Like how you are taking all the riches, you take me also. But remember, I will never ever speak to you. She said she never wants to speak to him. Ang was shocked. Was he really just a thief? The ogre came up beside him. Don't listen to her. The important thing is you got what you wanted. Now let's go. So now Ang was shocked because actually he didn't mean to steal those things. With the advice of the ogre, the strength, who has the virtue strength, he gained all those things. He is not a thief. Then ogre was saying to Ang, no, don't listen to her. You got whatever you wanted. You wanted all those riches, you got now. Now let us leave from this place, he said. The mountains not far from the capital city. Ang turned to the sorcerer. What should I do with these riches? So that afternoon, what happened? They reached, they came out of the mountains near the capital city. So now he has a doubt. What should I do with these riches? So he called the third puppet the sorcerer. And he asked, what should I do with these riches? Now the puppet came to life as Mala looked on with wide eyes. If you want your wealth to grow, he said, you must learn the secrets of nature. So what did the puppet do? The puppet came to life and Mala's eyes were wide open. She was shocked to see a puppet coming to life. When Ang asked the puppet, what should I do with these riches? And what the puppet said, you have to learn the secrets of nature first. Then you can grow your wealth. Not only this, you can grow your wealth itself. He tapped Ang with his wand and together they rose high in the air. Looking down, Ang saw everything. He could tell what land was best for farming and which mountain held gold and silver. So now this puppet, it had a magic wand, and with the wand he tapped on the shoulder of the Ang, and what happened? Together they rose high into the air, and from there this puppet, he showed Ang different lands and how which land is good for farming, which mountains has gold and silver, etc. So this puppet has given some knowledge to Ang. This is wonderful, said Ang. I can help everyone with what I know. So what he thought, this is so wonderful. I learnt everything. Now with the knowledge I have, I can help everyone, and I can help them to learn which land is good for farming and which has gold and silver, etc., etc. Whatever knowledge I gain, I wish to share with others and help them too, he thought. Knowledge is power. Why not keep it for yourself instead? Isn't that what other people do? Asked the sorcerer. So what the sorcerer said, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So when you have that power, why to share with others? Why instead all the others also do the same thing? They gain the knowledge and they keep it for themselves. You also do the same thing. Why to share to others? Sorcerer told Ang. I suppose so, said Ang. So Ang also agreed with the sorcerer and said, okay, I'll keep this knowledge to me, he thought. So they came to the capital city. Ang became a merchant, and with the help of the ogre and the sorcerer, he grew many times richer. He bought a palace and kept the puppets in a special room. So what happened? Soon they reached the capital city, and there Ang became a great merchant. So he increased his wealth so many times, several times. He became richer, and one final day he built a big palace. So in a special room he kept all these 4 puppets. But Ang was not happy, for Mala still would not speak to him. One day he placed before her a headdress set with large rubies, sapphires and emeralds. It cost Ang a third of his wealth. So although Ang became so rich, he became a great merchant, he became so rich, he built a big palace, he has everything he wants, but still Ang is not happy. Why do you think Ang is not happy? Because Mala is not speaking to him. So one day what did he do? He made a headdress. Headdress means a covering worn on the head for special occasions. So he made a headdress which is made up of rubies, emeralds and sapphires, all the precious stones. So using all the precious metals and precious stones, he made a beautiful headdress and he kept it before Mala. And that headdress cost 1/3 of his wealth. Mala took one look, pushed it away and said not a word. So what happened? Mala looked at that headdress, but she did not accept that gift. Instead, she pushed it away gently and she did not even speak one word. Now what happened? Now she rejected the gift, and now Ang was heartbroken. Heartbroken means felt extremely sad. Ang is extremely sad because she did not accept the gift and also she did not speak a single word. Now what he decided? He decided to find Mala's father. He decided to find Mala's father and help him so that then Mala would speak to him. But the ogre and the sorcerer advised him against it. Besides, they said, Mala ran away last night. But these 2 puppets, ogre and the sorcerer, both of them told not to do so. Don't go and search for Mala's father. And do you know, last night, Mala ran away from the house, they said. In despair, Ang now turned to the holy hermit for the first time. So, he was in despair. He was very sad that Mala ran away. And for the first time, he turned to the holy hermit. Holy hermit's virtue is goodness. Then holy hermit came to life. You imagine that wealth brings happiness. But what is important is not what you have, but what you do with it. So what the holy hermit said? You thought that all these riches, getting rich and good, getting all the things you wanted brings you happiness. But that is not so. Whatever you have, if you have, it is not important that what you have, but it is important what you do with the things you have. That means being rich is not important, but in spite of being rich, what you do with those riches is important, it said, and it again hung back to the pole. Ang realized his mistake. From that day, he used his wealth to do good. He built a pagoda and offered food and shelter to all the visitors. So what happened that day? He realized his mistake. That means he wanted to become rich and rich, but he hasn't used his riches for any good. So then he decided to use his wealth for doing the good. So what he did, he built a pagoda. Pagoda means a temple with multiple levels. It is like a tower. And in that temple, he offered shelter and also food for all the visitors. One day, Ang saw a woman he knew well. An older man stood beside her, both of them wearing humble clothes. So one day, what happened? Ang saw a woman he knew well. That means he knows that woman very well. Who is that woman? She is none other than Mala. And an old man was standing beside her. That old man is Mala's father. And both of them were dressed very humbly. Humbly means humble clothes, means here in this context ordinary clothes, very ordinary clothes. Mala, cried Ang. He rushed over to them and knelt before her puzzled father. So immediately when he saw Mala, he shouted Mala, and he went and knelt before his father. Puzzled father means that Mala's father was shocked to see this person kneeling down in front of him. Sir, I have done you a great wrong. I beg your forgiveness. All I have, I give it up gladly. I will be content to return to my village and make puppets. Now what Ang said, Ang is asking for forgiveness. Sir, I have done a big mistake. I have done a great wrong to you. I have taken all the wealth. I stole all the wealth. So now I am very happy to give it to you. I wanted to give all my wealth to you. Now I decide that I go back to my village and I will be a puppet maker again. I will make puppets and lead my life, he said. Father, said Mala softly, this is Ang, but he has changed. So what happened, father? Mala introduced this person. This is none other than Ang, but he has changed a lot, she said to her father. So it would seem, said her father. If so, it would be a shame to let him go. Perhaps he would like to work for me. So I think, yes, he has changed. So if he has changed, it would be a shame for us to let him go. Why instead he can work for me? He can stay with us and he can work for me, he said. So Ang became the merchant's assistant, and when Mala's heart was won, his son-in-law. So now what happened? Ang became the merchant's assistant. He worked for the merchant, and after a few days he won the heart of Mala, and Mala also accepted him, and they both married to each other, and he became the son-in-law of the merchant. Ang still called on the puppets, But though he was helped often by strength and knowledge, he was guided always by wisdom and goodness. So after marrying Mala also, Ang still used all the four puppets. He used knowledge and strength with wisdom and goodness. Without wisdom and goodness, using knowledge and strength is useless. So this is about the lesson we have learned today. So what is the title of the lesson? The Four Puppets. Who has written the lesson? Aaron Shepard. Aaron Shepard. So who is Ang's father? Ang's father is a puppet maker. What did Ang's father think of his son? He thought that Ang would become a puppet maker. But does Ang like becoming a puppet maker? No, he doesn't like to become a puppet maker. Instead, he left the house in search of his fortune. So, what are the four things father has presented? He has given four puppets, which each one has a virtue. What are the four virtues? What is the first puppet? The King of Gods. It has the virtue of wisdom. The second puppet is, yes, ogre. The second puppet is green-faced ogre, and its virtue is strength. And the third puppet is mystic sorcerer. His virtue is knowledge. And the last puppet, what is the last puppet? Puppet is holy hermit. Holy hermit's virtue is goodness. Okay. Thank you. And read the lesson and write your own